Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Tierra. Let's check it out. Setup for the game is putting out all the resources here at the top, the cards here at the top. You have an A and a B deck of these special cards here. You'll put 4 of them out from the A deck. Later on, when the turn track indicates, you'll switch from A to B stack for those in the ones down here. You have these type cards. They're listed for A, and then these are listed for B. Again, you're just going to put out the A cards into these 6 slots here. The B cards you'll put out once the last 3 rounds come around. You'll switch them out for B. The C cards, they'll come out once. They will not be removed each turn. They're only replaced when someone accomplishes one of the goals on the C spot there. Then you're going to put out all the little pins here, all the resources here on the board that shows, they have the little indicator that shows you where things go. You're going to have your 2 dice. You'll just leave it on the board or to the side of the board. Doesn't really matter. You're going to have, each person is going to start with 4 of their own meeples, and then 1 right here that they can unlock later on. There's going to be the turn tracker who's going first and everything. It's always the person with the least amount of points. First player gets 10 points, second player gets 11, and so on and so forth. Each player is also going to start with their own little player board, and they're going to get a little irrigated area, an apple orchard, and these are 2 spots to put horses, and this is a pin to put any type of animal. So you're going to get to start with 2 of any resource that you want. It just can't be the same resource. You could have a chicken, a cow, a sheep, an apple, a grain, a grape, or even an extra pin if you wanted. And everyone just takes turns choosing whatever they want. Once they get their items, then you can start to play the game. There is, like I said, on the turn track, if you get past 100, there are these cards here that you take afterwards, and if you can make it around again, which may happen at the end, you flip it over for 200. Over to the side here, there are some mini expansions. You'll just put them on the board. Usually they're just event cards. There is always this big event deck here. I say big, but it's actually tiny. You'll flip one over every round. Kind of hard to remember because it's off to the side, so try not to forget that. We forgot that in several of our games. But here's the same type of thing here. It's just some extra bonuses in the game, and I'm not going to go over any of the mini expansions. This one you can hand out to people. These are in-game points, you know, and the book will tell you what each one means. Sometimes it's, do you have the most of a certain item, or do you have the least of a certain item than all the other players? And if so, you will get victory points. So it basically gives you some extra goals there. You can pass those out to each player. How the game goes is simple worker placement here. What you're doing is you're taking your 4 players, and in player order, you're placing them anywhere on the little wheels that you see pictured below. And then, after everyone's placed, then you'll start moving down the board in numerical order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it goes 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This is 14 actually. This is 15, you know. But you'll be going down this order to resolve everything. So let me tell you how this works. Obviously, putting one down here gives you a pin. You can get an extra pin, which can let you get more animals. Only one, you start with a pin on your board, but it can only hold 1 type of animal. So if I have chickens there, I can only keep chickens there. Now, when you if you want to get different types of animals, you need to get different types of pins, and you can put it anywhere on your board. But once you put it there, that pin has to stay there. So you need to make sure to work your board just right, or the way you want it. The other things that you have here is you have these that give you seeds for apples, grain, or grapes. And what you'll do is just take one of the apple, grain, or grapes and then put it on your player board. It has to have a water drop by it to grow crop. And to even harvest it, you'll have to put a man in between those 2 areas with it irrigated for it to harvest both. Now, if you're looking for some more irrigation, there's one right over here that you can go. And what you'll do is you will, even shows you the black triangular die. You'll roll that die and take as many water as it says. So here I take 3 water drops. And as you take 3 water drops, you place them anywhere on your board. 1, 2, and maybe I can place one up here in my horse pen. I'll get to why in a minute. But you can only grow crops that are irrigated. So for instance, again, let's say I had a few of these. Let's say I had some grape here, that would grow, but the grain wouldn't because there's no water drop around it. All right, so I'd have to maybe push a water drop in there. It has to follow a line, and it can go elsewhere. Like I could put this water drop here too, but it has to start out from the spout and then move around. And then of course you have to put people around each one of these areas to make sure you harvest them. Now, when harvesting them, you can remove a water drop from the board and put it back into the supply. When you do that, you get a double harvest, like double grain and double grapes and double, apples, whatever you're harvesting. Now, if ever the water runs out, then a drought happens and everyone must take all of their water spots and then put them back into the reserve. It really sucks, but it's going to happen definitely at least once in your games. The next one I'm just going to go to is the horses here. Horses you can put in a horse show. There are 3 horse shows in the game. One's in the second round, one's in the last round, and one's kind of toward the end there. And it'll tell you on the game board there, but you'll get a horse here. Now, to get a horse, you need to have water in that little horse pen. You can have up to 2 horses. And then after that, you guys start feeding it apples, and not these type of apples, but these type apples. You'll just grab, when you grab a resource, you'll grab the card. If you get more than one, you'll flip it over, it gives you 2. So every time you feed an apple to your horse, he moves up on this board that says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the higher the horse, the better chance you have at winning the horse show for each individual round. Now, I'll get back to horses in a minute. The other one here is sheep. When you're rolling for sheep, you roll this die. Make sure you have a separate pen or an empty pen for sheep. Roll the die and take that many sheep. Now, if you ever get too many sheep, let's say I only have 1 pen and I rolled 5 sheep. Well, I would get 3 sheep, and the other 2 sheep would come in the form of meat. You just have to grind them up to meat. Now, meat is a little bit worthless in the game. You can sell it in the market for like $1 each, which is kind of sucky. Plus, you will run out of meat cards in this game if you play with full players. So what we've decided to do, it's a house rule because I can't find the regular rules. If you try to grab for a meat card and there are no meat cards there, we just give you the extra bonus points. But there are some cards in this A deck here that will let you cash it in for a little bit more than what it usually costs, and that's really nice. But meat's kind of not the best product, probably the least popular product to get. Anyway, that's sheep. Same thing for cattle. You'd roll this black die and take whatever cattle's there. If you get more cattle than what you can hold, it gets ground up into meat. Same thing for chickens, except you're rolling the white die for chickens, 6-sided die. And any chickens extra that you get that you can't put in your pins, you get meat for. All right, the other thing you can do right here is you can buy an extra man. Now, it costs however many men are in this area. So for instance, for the first player, it costs them 4 coins. And then victory points are coins here as well. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and free up a man. Now, the next person would cost 3, the next person it would cost 2, and the last person to get one would get it for the cheapest. It's a nice way to kind of balance things out, because if someone wants that big advantage, they're going to have to pay the biggest cost. Okay, other things you can do, basically any of the areas over here are basically refining some of your base goods. So for instance, that's the horse, but going here or here in these 2 spots here will let you, if you have 2 cows, and if you have 2 of these cows, you can get 1 milk product out of it. Or if you have 3 sheep, you can get 1 yarn product out of it for every 3 sheep you have. Or if you have 3 chickens, you can get, eggs, if you want some eggs to sell. So you can get some eggs too. So eggs, milk, and chicken is what you can get. 1 egg, 1 milk, 1 chicken. And that's basically a little bit extra premium goods that you can sell here in the market sometimes. Other things you can refine, going over to these 2, you can take 3 wheat and combine it and get 1 flour, or you can take 3 grape and combine it to 1 barrel of wine. All right, it's just regular box wine, let's say. It's a low grade wine, but still it's nice. Over here, you take these and you do a little bit nicer. You get some of these premium products. These last 2 spots are premium products. If you can create 4 wool, you'll get a nice sweater. Or if you get 2 eggs and 1 flour, you'll get some nice fine wine, that glass of wine over there. If you go over here and give 2 milk and 1 flour, you can make a cake. Not cake. Cake, big victory points. And if you go down here and get 2 apples and 2 of those wines, you make some kind of apple wine that's over there, and that's really nice. Now those are premium products. You can get up to 50 points if you have all of them. It's like a set collection there, but it is very hard to get. It's going to take you most of the game to get all those. And when you get those, you can't see it down here, but you also get an additional 35 points. I should also mention that going here does cost you $5 to convert your animals to get goods or something, or convert your crops to get better goods. Now, I've kind of already talked about what happens on your own player board, how you put people out to irrigate, or how you can put irrigation out there. Like this guy's out here between these two, but he won't get anything because it's not irrigated. If it had some water by it, it would get irrigated. But anyway, that's how that works. Now, over here in the market is really cool because let's say people are here, 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 and here. The reason someone may be up top is they can only do one of these things here. One of these things. If you're here, you can do 2 of them, or sell something in the market. Over here, the prices to the left on this board are stuff you could sell it for. The prices on the right are stuff you can buy things for. So if you needed that extra cow, you can buy, and you were locked out here, you can buy one for $4. Pretty expensive, but you get a cow. The only thing you can't buy are any of the premium products. You can sell them for a little bit, but you can't buy them there. Premium meaning eggs, yarn, milk, flour, and wine. Anyway, what you'll do in player order, you take 1 or 2 turns depending where you are on this track, and then you can take advantage of some of the specials here. So for instance, if I had up to 4 meat, and you can ground any of your cattle or chicken or sheep up into meat, if you get up to 4 times, you'll get 3 coins for each meat you have. That's really good. But once someone uses it, it's off the board. So that's why you may want to be first. Other things, you can sell up to 6 chickens for 4 each. That's nice if you're growing a lot of chickens. These are just extra ways to make big money. Now over here, if someone had to place someone particularly in that area, then they'd have to give up those items. So 2 chickens and 1 cow will get you 19 points or 19 coin. Once that's done, you keep this with you, and then you bring out another C to replace it. If it is a horse round, they have the little horse derby here. It doesn't really matter. That's just nice to look at. But you're going to see who has the highest point horse. If it's a tie, whoever's first place will win. Tiebreaker. And the first place person will get 15 points. Next horse show, they'll get 20 points. Last horse show, they'll get 25 points. But once you win, your horse goes back down to 1. So he has to start back all over again. So if he made it up to like 2 or 3 and he won, he goes back to 1. Gives everyone else a chance to kind of catch up so you won't run away with those. But horse points are always good to have. And you can have, multiple horses in different shows. Have one primed, ready to go, the next one coming up next if you want to try to get both of these, because that's really hard to get both of them back to back. Anyway, at the end of a round, all that cleanup is taking away all of these cards off the board unless they have a arrow by them. And you see this arrow, let me see if I can pick this up here, matches the icon that is on the board here. So you would move these 3 here, and if they weren't taken, you'd have one more shot to get them before they're gone. As new arrows come out, they'll push these down off the board. So these stay just a little bit longer, but usually you're going to put out more on those. Now again, putting out B cards here when the B gets there. I just realized I missed another thing to tell you. Another spot that you could play on is over here. This is kind of like the technology area. If you play on any one of these wheels, you see these wheels are kind of in between both of these cards, or the one's right dead in the center. What it is however many technologies you're touching, that's how much it's going to cost you. So for instance, if it was yellow's turn, well, he's beside this one or this one. And let's say I have 3 sheep. Well, 3 sheep make 1 wool. Ooh, I really like that. So I'm going to take this one, and it cost me 2 coins. So I go down 2 coin. All right, and so I take this with my 3 sheep and 1 wool. I'll get this during when it comes to number 14 on my farm. I have to put it in one of these 3 open spots. You can only have 3 technologies at one time. If you do get another one, you have to discard one and slip the other one in. But after that, it's Red's turn to go. Now, Red was originally going to have to pay 2 for this, but now he knew Yellow was going to buy this, so now he gets this for 1 because he's only touching 1. And but if he was in the middle and let's say he wanted this one, it's going to cost him 3 because he is actually touching 3 different technologies. Now, being in the middle is nice because you get access to all 3 of them, but it's going to usually cost you a little bit more. These are the A's. These will be removed. New A's will come out, and you'll switch over to B's in the last few rounds. So basically, that's what you're going to be doing for a couple rounds. You're going to be getting victory points, taking more goods, growing crop or growing livestock, or doing horse shows. I mean, there's a million things you can do in this game, and then refining those factories or getting special abilities and harking on that. And of course, at the end of this final round here, you tally up all your money, any victory points that you got at the end, and whoever has the most victory points wins. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, I've actually been looking at this game on and off for about a year or so. It looks like a very simple game, but it is actually pretty fun. It's a little bit more advanced than I thought it would. It is basic worker placement, but there are a lot of paths to victory, and that's why this is fun. Now, the pieces look great too, don't they? But it's not that complicated. I thought it was a little too complicated for worker placement at first, and then reading over the rules, I said, oh, no, this is fine. I got this one. It's been a while now since I've had this one. Played it on and off. My nephews absolutely love this one, and I do too. It is hard to get all 4 of those premium products. In fact, I've only done it once, and that was on the very last turn. And I was super proud of that because that has to be your strategy, right? Other people can start winning that horse show and run away with tons of points if no one, I mean, sometimes we had to jump into the horse show just to try to beat the guy who was winning twice. And he had 2 horses to win back-to-back points. Those last 2 rounds of horses, that is huge if you can get both of those. And I mean, there's different ways to win. You can start growing animals, and that can be your strategy. Or growing a farm, growing a crop. One of my nephews grew this immense crop, and we're just making bank on that. The other one was making money because he was growing livestock. And I was kind of balancing all 3 as best I could. It was wonderful that you had 3 different strategies going on, and all 3, it was very close, very close. Anyone can win this game, and that's why this is a fantastic game. This is the new era one. I know there was one a long time ago. It was a older version. I've never played that one, but I think this one is a little bit more advanced, meaning it's got more stuff in it. But other than that, though, really fun game. Kind of underrated. Flew under the radar, and hopefully now that you know about it, you'll give it a shot too. All right, gamers, that's all the time I have for now. Until next time, you know what to do. Game on!